Hey guys, it's Ether back with part 2 of my Behind the Song series, and we're covering my latest track on Spotify, Sauce, with my buddy Micah Klutinoty. I'll link the full song below because we're not going to go through the whole track. The purpose of this video is to kind of pick apart the pieces and say, hey, here's my thought process and how I created the sounds or cut the vocals or came up with beats and all that good stuff. So if you want to check out just the full song in its entirety, I will link that below in Spotify. So last time we kind of talked through kind of the inspiration for the song, how it got started, some of the little lead lines and bass and intro beat. And I realized in the last video I didn't really talk about what the song means. So it's called Sauce, and if you've listened to it, you can tell it's about like hot wings and sauce and grilling chicken and just kind of an overall just fun and silly song. So kind of a background to that is my friend Micah would have every once in a while friends over to his house on Thursday nights for what we call Thunder Thigh Thursday. And he would make like chicken thighs on the grill and put some sauce with them. We'd hang out, play like Super Smash Bros. On the Switch, and just hang out and have fun. And it's kind of become this like meme, fun inside joke with the whole group. And so he had that on his mind when he sent me the hook. And I was like, okay, this is fun. Well, that's where the content of the song with the rap and the singing parts kind of came to fruition. It's just kind of have fun with it, make it about chicken, and like he can grill the best chicken in the world. So it was really fun, kind of silly, but it was a really fun project to work on. So what I wanted to cover in this video was kind of go through the whole song from beginning to end and kind of pinpoint each piece and talk about it. So in the intro here, we have me and Micah kind of talking back and forth, and I'll play that part here.
Hey, my boy Ether, what's good?
Yo, man, I'm hungry.
Bro, I've been working on my chicken recipe.
Yeah, I'm starving.
Well, bro, I can fix that.
And then it goes into the hook. I've got the sauce. You've got the sauce. Kind of intro to the song. We came up with this. Micah had come over. We recorded the vocals in like one night. He came over one night for a couple hours. I've actually got a vocal recording booth in my walk-in closet. And so he went in there. We cut the hook and the verse one. I had already recorded my part. So I had written my rap. I hadn't recorded it yet. And then I had kind of the singing hook in the middle of the song. I had sung my parts on that already. But after we cut verse one and we did a couple takes of it, he's like, man, we need to do like a back and forth kind of like intro thing where we talk to each other. And I was like, okay. And so he said, okay, you say this and like I'll say this stuff. And like that'll be the intro to the song. So that's how this intro piece came out. I'm not going to dive into a lot of the plugins I have on this. A lot of the stuff I just copied from the main vocals. I didn't really spend a huge amount of time on it. I did spend some time adjusting like the levels volume-wise to fit with the rest of the track from a mixing perspective. I don't think there's any automation on these. There's not. Nope, just kind of cut the regions together to make it fit with the tempo, and that's pretty much it. Next, I want to talk about the shaker real quick. So in the intro, right when the song starts, I have the shaker going. It's pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy, just a loop shaker. What I did with this, it's not an audiophile loop. Can I double click on this? And no, okay, I'll just zoom in. I still need to learn my shortcuts. I'm really bad with that. But as you can see, like I mentioned in the last video, it's the Satala plugin, and I just imported I think it's their default shaker, actually. Let me... Oh, it's a I don't think that's a maraca. I either imported my own sample in here or used... I don't think a maraca is a shaker. I could be wrong. I don't know. But anywho, what I did with the actual MIDI was just put in the... I guess this would be 16th note since it's slow. But I changed up the velocity. So the first hit is at, I don't know, what would this be? Oh, 75, 25 for beats 1, E, and So the E and the are at 25 velocity, and the an is at 45. So it kind of just gives that, human feel of someone actually shaking a shaker. So pretty straightforward. Next is the arpeggio in the beginning. So if we zoom back out here, take that off solo. And this section here, nope, I want you to be right here. And then I'll loop this. I think this is the full pattern. So here we have this kind of classic just rap arpeggio going on in the background. Actually, I want the melody actually changes. And then that just loops. So in the beginning, I was trying to find a way to really push the intro into the hook, because that's where like this drum fill comes in, the bass and the beat and just everything pushes forward in that hook of like the first I've got the sauce moment. So I just wanted something that would kind of be playing in the background underneath the little lead line here. So if I solo these, because that lead line, it's good for melodic purposes, but it wasn't really like pushing the song forward or bringing a transition into the next section. So I wanted to throw a little arp in there to kind of spice it up a little bit and give it more of that. It was missing some atmosphere. It felt just kind of empty at the beginning. So that's why I added this arp in, which I think it is. Sometimes I'll use the actual arp MIDI effects, I think it is. Yeah, you can actually put an arpeggiator in. So on the MIDI region, you just play a chord, instead of actually building the arp pattern yourself. You can just play a chord here for a quarter note, or I guess it would be longer than that. And then you can tweak the arpeggio. I don't think it's called a plugin, just feature of the channel strip to arpeggiate those notes for you. But I don't think I really knew about that at the time, so I just built the MIDI out myself. And then these are two different presets. So here, and I will say, like, all the synth stuff I do is in Logic's just built-in Alchemy synthesizer. I don't have any of the paid ones. I might get one or two someday when I feel like it, but I've been doing okay with Alchemy so far. I do want to check the others out. It's just I want to get as much as I can out of Alchemy right now, so I'm learning actually how to use the synths with like the oscillators and the LFOs and the effects that go into them before jumping in and trying something else. So yeah, it's just two layered presets. So kind of a more ambient, like in the background type of preset. And this is I think it's just the Behold Atlantis preset. I might have tweaked the sources a little bit. I don't remember how much I tweaked this. Maybe I like brought the delay down or reverb, but I just kind of tweaked it to let it sit with the other preset. And if we listen to that one it's a little bit brighter, has more delay on it. And then if we, oh wait, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm hearing like popping and clicking while I play it, but I realize I bumped the the buffer size down because I was recording earlier. So let's change that so it doesn't pop and click anymore. Thinking. Will it work? There we go. Okay, that's fine. Yep, that's fine. Okay. Okay, now it's not popping anymore. So, anywho, those are the two samples, put them together. And then I changed the melody there just to give it some variety so it's not, a constant just chord all the way through. So, that is the ARP. And then I also wanted to talk about the drum fill into the first hook. So that's a combination of two loops I got from the Somatics pack I mentioned last time. So the first one is, and these were at different tempos than the project BPM, so I had to flex time them and kind of manipulate them to fit with the tempo. But here's the original, and I cut pieces of them out too. So the full looks like this. No, I don't want to time warp it. I think this is the full. This is the full loop. Wait, that's a really long loop. Oh, okay. Let's listen to it. So this is more supposed to be like a build percussion, and it drops out right there. So this loop was supposed to be more for like a big build, probably for like a trap song or something, but I wanted to use it more like that tiny section just to fill, use as a drum fill into this section. So if I undo all that, that's the original piece, or that's not the original piece, that's the final piece that landed as part of this fill in the end. And then here's the other fill, which I also believe I cut down. So that's the actual start. I guess I didn't cut it down. I think I time warped this and I squished it to fit in with the BPM because it looks like the original BPM is 100. I'm at 80. So it was originally what would that be? It was too short, like it ended too early. So I put flex time on. I stretched the file out to fit within my 80 BPM range. So here's what that one sounds like. So that one, I liked the beginning of it because it had a nice rhythm. I liked the syncopated claps. Cha, cha, cha. But the ending was kind of disappointing. It's just blip, blip, and it doesn't really push. So I was like, okay, what if I squish these two together and just play them at the same time? And with the ARP going on, the Micah's talking at the same time, the lead going on, and the cymbal swell. I guess there's no cymbal swell here, but everything working together. It might sound a little bit too busy, but I thought it had the right push to go into the next section. So together they sound like this. So I feel like just the ending of this piece kind of picked up where the bottom fill left off and gave it a nice push into the hook. So with that, if we say, we put the lead line in here, we put the ARP in here, it just sounds really nice. So, all right, and I didn't really have anything else for this video, honestly. I should have looked at the clock to see how long I've been recording. Let's do one more piece. Let's see if I can find what comes in next. So the fill comes in. We talked about the kick and the beat and the bass last time. Let me talk about the piano and then we'll finish because there's a lot of stuff to go through with the sauce hook. Just the different. Oh, I didn't do a lot of processing on this. Never mind. How about I talk about both of them and then I'll end the video. That works. So I have a track stack here of 3 vocals. These are 3 different takes of Micah singing in the sauce hook. So if I solo it, and we'll just we'll set the loop here. Actually, I need this early because the words start.
I got the sauce, you got the sauce. I got the sauce, you got the sauce. I got the sauce, you got the sauce. I got the sauce, you got the sauce.
So basically, I just have um, 3 copies, one in the middle as kind of the main, and then 2 doubles, one on the left, one on the right. So you can see the middle one here is the centered. Hook 1 is it's panned left, not hard left, just kind of halfway left, and then halfway right. For the other, I have the volume levels of these lower, as you can see, -9, where this one's just at 0. And I have these grouped in a bus. Just cut some of the low end out. Have a little bit of the hook sent to the vocal reverb to give it some space, and then bus 1 just goes to the overall vocal mix. So nothing crazy here. I think we did some takes of this. One of these, I think this one, the reason it's chopped up is because we recorded it at a slower BPM because I forgot to change it to BPM or something, so it just wasn't fitting. So I chopped it up, or it might have just been because he was taking really big breaths between the different lines, and I wanted to cut that out. So that's why these regions are chopped up. And then with the 2 doubled vocals, you can't really hear the breaths that much since they're panned and the volume levels are down. So I didn't really take the time to chop those up as much. A lot of what I did for the time correction on these was use Logic's flex time. I worked a lot with it on this song and then on current project I'm working on right now as far as the vocals go, and I've been learning a lot of how the processing affects the sound of the vocal. A lot of times if you don't use the right parameter of what kind of flex time processing is used, it can make the vocal sound kind of wonky. I might be able to show an example of that here. So if I I'll pick the center one, solo it, and then instead of having it as slicing, I think it's polyphonic is really for, like the name says, polyphonic audio files. So audio that has more than one note or harmonic going on at the same time, which with a vocal, it's really just one, if you think about it, one pitch in that sense of things. So whenever you play the flex time with polyphonic,
I got the sauce, you got
you can
the
kind of
sauce.
hear like
I got the sauce,
a weird
you got the
phasing,
sauce. I got the sauce, you got the sauce.
almost like a robotic undertone to the vocal. And if I switch this back to slicing,
I got the sauce,
it's way
you
more
got
clear.
the sauce.
So I noticed that, or I didn't notice it set to polyphonic on some of the tracks I was working on early on, and I was scratching my head going, why do my vocals sound wacky? And I noticed it was set to polyphonic instead of one of these others. A lot of times I'll use monophonic for vocal stuff. Sometimes I'll use slicing. I don't remember the exact reason I use slicing here instead of something else. I mean, even like the hook 3 has rhythmic as the preset instead of slicing like the other 2. So like I said, I don't remember the justification for each. I just kind of used my ears, looked through or listened through the vocal, and if it sounded weird or off, I would kind of play around with different settings. But since these are doubled vocals and they're 3 completely different takes, what I did was I turned the click on, I played the audio for each one, or I started with the centered vocal, like what's supposed to be the main vocal, and then you can set with flex time these different markers, and then you can click and drag them and it will warp the audio to where you slide the marker. So I tried to catch syllables of his rap where a word was like landing on a downbeat or at a distinguishable like quarter note or eighth note, and put a marker there, and then manually adjust all the markers where his vocals would fit together and sound in unison. Because from what I've researched, that's the best practice for what you want to do to get vocal doubles to sound together and have the doubles give the main vocal more power to be as close together as they can be. And there's a timer going off behind me, so I'll be right back. All right, there we go. So that is pretty much what I did with the hook. I can't think there's anything else. So we'll collapse that and then go back to our overall view. And then I wanted to talk about the piano real quick. So if we go down here to piano and solo that, this is what the piano sounds like. And my purpose with this was just to kind of like have it poke in during the hooks and different pieces, just kind of as a background accent. So here's what it sounds like. And I remember I originally just kind of had it as a dry piano. I got this new, this was a free plugin from Arturia because I bought an Arturia Keylab MIDI controller, and the software download came with buying the controller. And so I was just playing around with the plugin, and whoop, don't cover my face. Just the different presets in here, and this is American Large Hall. And so with this chord pattern, I just wanted to play something that kind of just poked through, provide a little background accent, and then I ended up putting a little chorus effect on it and then a stereo widener. So originally it sounds like this. So pretty clear and centered. I might have had it down an octave originally. I can't remember. But at the end of the day, I wanted it to be bright and just kind of be a little background flare. So I threw the chorus on it and this ozone widener. It kind of has kind of that honky tonk old like Western upright with the chorus, and I really liked that. So, and this plays throughout. I think it's in every hook. It plays during like the group vocal part later on, the second part of my verse, and then the rest of the hooks until the song ends. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. This has been part 2 behind the song, going through Sauce, and hope you join next time for part 3. I'll be hitting a couple more of these instruments. I think I'll be going through maybe some snare stuff. Already hit the drum fills. I won't talk about the cymbals. They're just samples that I reversed to swell in and just left normal to crash out. All your basic stuff. So probably talk about vocal processing in verse 1 and different. The choir mix is a big one that I'll go more in depth on. So thanks for joining. Like I said, link to the whole song will be down below. The link to Spotify is in the description. If you want to check it out, I'd love for you to hear it, and I'll see you next time.